All right. Hello again, friends, and welcome back to my channel, Lazarus Out Loud, where I'm also featuring special guest Phoenix on Fire.
But in the last chapter 1 video, you didn't
Well, this is a new video, that's okay. So we are doing the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, one chapter a week-ish. The schedule's kind of all over the place now, but that's okay. So last week we did chapter 2, The Vanishing Glass, where all kinds of weird stuff went down.
And the snake got out of its cage.
It sure did.
Because Harry made the glass disappear.
He did.
And it was asleep. Then it woke up.
It did.
And started swimming towards Ron and Harry.
Yep, and it scared all the customers.
And Dudley.
Yeah.
And they ran away.
Yes, they ran away screaming. And in the movie, Dudley actually falls into the tank and gets soaking wet. They changed it a little bit for the movie.
That's odd.
No, sometimes they change things in movies for all kinds of reasons. But I'm okay with that change. It's a pretty funny scene. So, yeah. We are reading out of the illustrated copy, which is a very beautiful copy of the book.
The P on the front has a little little lightning bolt down.
It does, because Harry...
The scar, because Harry has it on his forehead.
Exactly. Very cool. So yeah, we're going to go into chapter 3, which is called The Letters from No One.
Somebody you find the page.
Yeah, it won't take me too long. Alright, do you want to tell them about the pictures on this page?
That, well, he's already broken his new hammer, but how?
It doesn't tell you how. Yeah, well...
He must have just thrown it outside
when he got angry. That's what I think happened. Yeah, so the chapter page... Huh?
How come it doesn't say?
Because this is not really the point of the story. This is a story about Harry, mostly. And Dudley is just a character in Harry's story. And Dudley is kind of a spoiled, careless, mean brat, and it's kind of the point of that sentence. But yeah, so...
Am I the same way?
No, sweetie. You take care of your items. You do like to have new items. You're a little bit spoiled, but I don't think you're a brat. Okay, you're respectful and you're kind. What?
Sometimes I would yell.
Sometimes, but no one's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So the letters from no one has...
Why would I yell?
Because you get frustrated, and sometimes we yell and you learn from us. Sometimes it's our fault. Anyway, we don't need to talk about our personality flaws on this channel.
My Aunt Patty was my best bud, and she died suddenly and was asleep.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Aunt Patty.
Did she get just too old, or?
She just got really sick, and it came on suddenly, and she didn't recover from it. She didn't get too old. She was pretty young, because Grandma's way older than her. Well, not way, but she is older. So this chapter, yeah, we just had a death in the family. So anyway, there's a picture of an owl's claws clutching a letter, because in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, the mail is delivered via owl, which is very cool. The other page has a picture of Dudley in his dorky new Smeltings uniform, which you will hear all about in the chapter. Are you ready, or do you want to add anything?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. Chapter 3, The Letters from No One. The escape of the Brazilian boa constrictor earned Harry his longest ever punishment. By the time he was allowed out of his cupboard again, the summer holidays had started and Dudley had already broken his new cinecamera, crashed his remote control aeroplane, and, first time on his racing bike, knocked down old Mrs. Fig as she crossed Privet Drive on her crutches.
How?
He was probably going too fast and not looking where he was going. Pretty messed up to knock down an injured old lady.
He gets a red.
A red? Oh, at school? On the behavior chart?
Yes.
I agree. Yeah, Dudley's for sure always getting them reds.
Well, was he at school when that happened?
No, it was during the summer holidays when there was no school.
When Harry was allowed out of his cupboard again, why did he say, "I don't want him in there. Make him get out"?
Well, that happens later in the chapter because he doesn't want to share. He's an only child. Harry doesn't count because they don't treat him.
That's Dudley's room. Why doesn't he get out?
He already has a room. We'll get there. Okay. Harry was glad school was over, but there was no escaping Dudley's gang, who visited the house every single day. Piers, Dennis, Malcolm, and Golden were all big and stupid, but as Dudley was the biggest and stupidest of the lot, he was the leader. The rest of them were all quite happy to join in Dudley's favorite sport, Harry hunting. This was why Harry spent as much time as possible out of the house, wandering around and thinking about the end of the holidays, where he could see a tiny ray of hope. When September came, he would be going off to secondary school, and for the first time in his life, he wouldn't be with Dudley. Dudley had a place at Uncle Vernon's old school, Smeltings. Piers Polkiss was going there too. Harry, on the other hand, was going to Stonewall High.
Why is Neville's parents unable to?
We'll get there too. It's because Voldemort tortured them and they went insane. It's really sad.
But, so he's with his grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like as old as your mom is?
Probably around the same age. They don't really tell you that, but yeah. Harry, on the other hand, was going to Stonewall High, the local comprehensive.
They might tell you later in the
Maybe the internet knows. Dudley thought this was very funny. They stuff people's heads down the toilet first day at Stonewall, he told Harry. Want to come upstairs and practice? No thanks, said Harry. The poor toilet's never had anything as horrible as your head down it. It might be sick. Then he ran before Dudley could work out what he had said. One day in July, Aunt Petunia took Dudley to London to buy his Smeltings uniform, leaving Harry at Mrs. Fig's. Mrs. Fig wasn't as bad as usual. Turned out she'd broken her leg tripping over one of her cats, and she didn't seem quite as fond of them as before. She let Harry watch television and gave him a bit of chocolate cake that tasted as though she'd had it for several years. Ew. That evening, Dudley paraded around the living room for the family.
What?
Cake that tastes like it's years old. I wouldn't eat it.
I wouldn't eat it either.
Yeah, but Harry doesn't really get cake that often, so he probably and he's also very polite. He probably didn't want to be rude. That evening, Dudley paraded around the living room for the family in his brand new uniform. Smeltings boys wore maroon tailcoats, orange knickerbockers, and flat straw hats called botas.
To work?
I don't work today. We're off. We can do whatever we want.
Like what?
Like this. You can go to the store later if you want. Let's get this chapter done though, because we keep having to redo it. Excuse me. They also carried knobbly sticks used for hitting each other while the teachers weren't looking.
Mm-hmm.
This was supposed to be good training for later life. My sweeties. As he looked at Dudley in his new knickerbockers, Uncle Vernon said gruffly that it was the proudest moment of his life.
Baby.
Aunt Petunia burst into tears and said she couldn't believe it was her Ickle Dudleykins. He looked so handsome and grown up. Harry didn't trust himself to speak. He thought two of his ribs might already have cracked from trying not to laugh. There was a horrible smell in the kitchen next morning when Harry went in for breakfast. It seemed to be coming from a large metal tub in the sink. He went to have a look. The tub was full of what looked like dirty rags swimming in grey water. "What's this?" he asked Aunt Petunia. Her lips tightened as they always did, if he dared to ask a question. "Your new school uniform," she said. Harry looked in the bowl again. "Oh," he said, "I didn't realize it had to be so wet." "Don't be stupid," snapped Aunt Petunia. "I'm dyeing some of Dudley's old things grey for you. It'll look just like everyone else's when I've finished." Harry seriously doubted this, but thought it best not to argue. He sat down at the table and tried not to think about...
Did she throw up yet?
No.
No, I mean, Patty.
No, buddy, she's not with us anymore.
Are you going to be happy if she throws up?
Buddy, she can't throw up anymore. Her heart stopped.
She can't?
No, buddy, she can't do anything in this world anymore. Sorry. Harry seriously doubted... Anyway, he sat down at the table and tried not to think about how he was going to look on his first day at Stonewall High. Like he was wearing bits of old elephant skin, probably. Dudley and Uncle Vernon came in, both with wrinkled noses because of the smell from Harry's new uniform. Uncle Vernon opened his newspaper as usual, and Dudley banged his smelting stick, which he carried everywhere, on the table. They heard the click of the letterbox and flop of letters on the doormat. "Get the post, Dudley," said Uncle Vernon from behind his paper. "Make Harry get it." "Get the post, Harry." "Make Dudley get it." "Poke him with your smelting stick, Dudley." Harry dodged the smelting stick and went to get the post. 3 things lay on the doormat. A postcard from Uncle Vernon's sister, Marge, who was holidaying on the Isle of Wight.
Why do they hear the click of the letterbox?
Because in their house, it just goes... They don't have a mailbox that's outside. It just goes straight into their house. Which is a lot better. But this is kind of the
The
mom.
letters come quickly or no?
Just the same as us. It's just a normal mail day. 3 things lay on the doormat. A postcard from Uncle Vernon's sister, Marge, who was holidaying on the Isle of Wight. A brown envelope that looked like a bill. And a letter for Harry. Harry picked it up and stared at it, his heart twanging like a giant elastic band. No one, ever in his whole life, had written to him. Who would? He had no friends, no other relatives. He didn't belong to the library, so he'd never even gotten rude notes asking for books back. Yet here it was, a letter, addressed so plainly there could be no mistake. Mr. H. Poulter, the cupboard under the stairs, 4 Privet Drive, Little Whinging, Surrey. The envelope was thick and heavy, made of yellowish parchment. Sorry. And the address was written in emerald green ink. There was no stamp.
So it is.
Yeah, my Zen is making my throat itchy. Turning the envelope over, his hand trembling, Harry saw a purple wax seal bearing a coat of arms, a lion, an eagle, a badger, and a snake surrounding a large letter H. "Hurry up, boy!" shouted Uncle Vernon from the kitchen. "What are you doing? Checking for letter bombs?" He chuckled at his own joke. Gonna sneeze? Okay. Harry went back to the kitchen, still staring at his letter. He handed Uncle Vernon the bill and the postcard, sat down, and slowly began to open the yellow envelope. Uncle Vernon ripped open the bill, snorted in disgust, and flipped over the postcard. Marge is ill, he informed Aunt Petunia. Ate a funny whelk. Dad, said Dudley suddenly. Dad, Harry's got something. Harry was on the point of unfolding his letter, which was written on the same heavy parchment as the envelope, when it was jerked sharply out of his hand by Uncle Vernon. That's mine, said Harry, trying to snatch it back. Who'd be writing to you? Sneered Uncle Vernon, shaking the letter open with one hand and glancing at it. His face went from red to green faster than a set of traffic lights. And it didn't stop there. Within seconds, it was the greyish white of old porridge. Excusez-moi. Petunia, he gasped. Dudley tried to grab the letter to read it, but Uncle Vernon held it high out of his reach. Aunt Petunia took it curiously and read the first line. For a moment, it looked as though she might faint. She clutched her throat and made a choking noise. Vernon! Oh, my goodness! Vernon! They stared at each other, seeming to have forgotten that Harry and Dudley were still in the room.
Why did he go, oh my goodness, Vernon?
Because she doesn't like the letter and what it says and what it means. You'll find out. Dudley wasn't used to being ignored. He gave his father a sharp tap on the head with a smelting stick. I want to read that letter, he said loudly. I want to read it, said Harry furiously, as it's mine. Get out, both of you, croaked Uncle Vernon, stuffing the letter back inside its envelope. Harry didn't move. I want my letter, he shouted. Let me see it, demanded Dudley. Out, roared Uncle Vernon, and he took both Harry and Dudley by the scruffs of their necks and threw them into the hall, slamming the kitchen door behind them, because he wants them out so they can talk in private.
And why did he slam the kitchen door like that behind them?
Because he's upset. Harry and Dudley promptly had a furious but silent fight.
So he closed the door, but slammed it.
He did. So Harry and Dudley promptly...
He didn't close it like, I do.
No, not gently like you.
He slammed
Slam it.
the
Slam
kitchen
it.
door, but, like, boom.
Yes. Harry and Dudley promptly had a furious but silent fight over who would listen at the keyhole. Dudley won, so Harry, his glasses dangling from one ear, lay flat on his stomach to listen at the crack between door and floor.
It's making my throat itchy.
You don't have a Zen. You don't do Zen. Zens aren't for kids.
All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Vernon, Aunt Petunia was saying in a quivering voice. Look at the address. How could they possibly know where he sleeps? You don't think they're watching the house? Watching, spying, might be following us, muttered Uncle Vernon wildly.
Whoa.
But what should we do, Vernon? Should we write back? Tell them we don't want. Harry could see Uncle Vernon's shiny black shoes pacing up and down the kitchen. No, he said finally. No, we'll ignore it. If they don't get an answer, yes, that's best. We won't do anything. But I'm not having one in the house, Petunia. Didn't we swear when we took him in we'd stamp out that dangerous nonsense?
Tissue.
Oh. That evening, when he got back from work, Uncle Vernon did something he'd never done before. He visited Harry in his cupboard. Thank you. Where's my letter? Said Harry the moment Uncle Vernon had squeezed through the door. Who's writing to me? No one. It was addressed to you by mistake, said Uncle Vernon shortly. I have burned it. It was not a mistake, said Harry angrily. It had my cupboard on it. Silence, yelled Uncle Vernon, and a couple of spiders fell from the ceiling.
Petunia's silence, not...
Oh, they already talked, so now he's talking to Harry. He took a few deep breaths and then forced his face into a smile, which looked quite painful. Yes, Harry, about this cupboard. Your aunt and I have been thinking. You're really getting a bit big for it. "We think it might be nice if you moved into Dudley's second bedroom." "Why?" said Harry. "Don't ask questions," snapped his uncle. "Take the stuff upstairs now." The Dursleys' house had 4 bedrooms. One for Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia, one for visitors, usually Uncle Vernon's sister, Marge, one where Dudley slept, and one where Dudley kept all the toys and things that wouldn't fit into his first bedroom. It only took Harry 1 trip upstairs to move everything he owned from the cupboard to this room. He sat down on the bed and stared around him. Nearly everything in here was broken. The month-old cinecamera was lying on top of a small, working tank Dudley had once driven over the next door's dog. In the corner was Dudley's first ever television set, which he'd put his foot through when his favourite program had been cancelled. There was a large birdcage which had once held a parrot that Dudley had swapped at school for a real air rifle, which
Did he get a red?
Which was up on a shelf with the end all bent because Dudley had sat on it. He gets a red, yeah, for sure. My book, anyway. Other shelves were full of books. They were the only things in the room that looked as though they'd never been touched. From downstairs came the sound of Dudley bawling at his mother. "I don't want him in there. I need that room. Make him get out." Harry sighed and stretched out on the bed. Yesterday he'd have given anything to be up here. Today he'd rather be back in his cupboard with that letter than up here without it. Next morning at breakfast, everyone was rather quiet. Dudley was in shock. He'd screamed, whacked his father with his smelting stick, been sick on purpose, kicked his mother, and thrown his tortoise through the greenhouse roof, and he still didn't have his room back.
Did you get mad at him?
I mean, I wouldn't be happy with any of that, but...
Not for kicking his mother.
She probably wasn't happy about it, that's for sure. But she spoils the living shit out of him, so I'm sure it was fine.
Did they die?
No, maybe the tortoise got hurt. I don't imagine. It's pretty fucked up, animal abuse. But
did she die?
Aunt Petunia did not die. She's okay. She's alive.
But
She's probably got a bruise on her shin.
Why?
Because if you beat up your flesh and it breaks the blood vessels inside.
Neville's parents are not dead either, so why aren't they out of the mental hospital?
Because they don't have their faculty of mind anymore. They don't even know who they are. They don't even have a language. They just kind of stare at the walls. It's really sad. You'll find out in book 5. Book 5 is a really sad book. Okay, where are we at?
It was a very sad book.
Just a lot of really sad stuff happens. You'll see.
Do we have book 5 or book 6?
Not yet, but we're going to go get book 4 and 5 from the bookstore, either today or tomorrow. Because I have money to buy them.
I want to do it today.
Okay, let's do the chapter, though, and then we can talk about that. We're going to finish it. Okay. Harry was thinking about this...
I can sit there and, do they allow kids on working in the bookstore?
Yeah, of course they do.
So I'll sit down there and I'll read it.
Sounds good. We'll do that in a little bit, okay?
What?
We'll go there soon. Let's just read the chapter. We're like halfway done. Harry was thinking about this time yesterday and bitterly wishing he'd opened the letter in the hole. Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia kept looking at each other darkly. Yeah, there actually is a picture on this page too. So there's Uncle Vernon holding the letter high out of reach. Harry and Dudley fighting to get it.
Why did trying to get it from him?
Well, Harry wants it because it's his letter, and Dudley wants it because he's nosy. Okay.
Why do you move the cover?
Because it is in the way. It's okay. When the post arrived, Uncle Vernon, who seemed to be trying to be nice to Harry, made Dudley go and get it. They heard him banging things with his smelting stick all the way down the hole. Then he shouted, "There's another one! Mr. H. Potter, the smallest bedroom, 4 Privet Drive!" With a strangled cry, Uncle Vernon leapt from his seat and ran down the hall, Harry right behind him. Uncle Vernon had to wrestle Dudley to the ground.
Why did he bang things with this?
Because he was mad that he had to go get the mail, because he's a brat. Uncle Vernon had to wrestle Dudley to the ground to get the letter from him, which was made difficult by the fact that Harry had grabbed Uncle Vernon around the neck from behind. After a minute of confused fighting, in which everyone got hit a lot by the smelting stick...
Why did he go running down the run from his seat?
To get the letter, because he doesn't want the kids to read it. This is a funny scene.
Why did he go from his seat?
To get the letter so the kids couldn't read it. He doesn't want the kids reading it. After a minute...
Why?
Because of what it says. We'll find out, okay?
Is it inappropriate things it says?
It's not inappropriate. They just don't approve. All right. After a minute of confused fighting in which everyone got hit a lot by the smelting stick, Uncle Vernon straightened up, gasping for breath, with Harry's letter clutched in his hand. "Go to your cupboard. Your bedroom," he wheezed at Harry. "Dudley, go. Just go." Harry walked round and round his new room. Someone knew he had moved out of his cupboard, and they seemed to know he hadn't received his first letter. Surely that meant they'd try again, and this time he'd make sure they didn't fail. He had a plan. The repaired alarm clock rang at 6 o'clock the next morning. Harry turned it off quickly and dressed silently. He stole downstairs without turning on any of the lights. He was going to wait for the postman.
That's your mom.
Sure is.
What is she doing?
I don't know, but we're making a video, so we're not worried about that. He was going to wait for the postman on the corner of Privet Drive and get the letters for number 4 first. His heart hammered as he crept across the dark hall towards the front door.
Was there supposed to be post at Harry's house?
Yes. Ah! Harry leapt into the air. He'd trodden on something big and squashy on the doormat. Something alive. Lights clicked on upstairs, and to his horror, Harry realized that the big squashy something had been his uncle's face. Uncle Vernon had been lying at the foot of the front door in a sleeping bag, clearly making sure that Harry didn't do exactly what he'd been trying to do. He shouted at Harry for about half an hour and then told him to go and make a cup of tea. Harry shuffled miserably off into the kitchen.
Why? Was he thirsty?
Sure, probably, and also he just wants Harry out of the way. Harry shuffled miserably off into the kitchen.
Why did he wait for the letters?
Because he doesn't want the kids to read them. I told you that. Harry shuffled miserably off into the kitchen. By the time he got back, the post had arrived right into Uncle Vernon's lap. Harry could see 3 letters addressed in green ink. "I won't," he began, but Uncle Vernon was tearing the letters into pieces before his eyes.
Were those Harry's?
Yeah, they were. 3 of them.
Why was he tearing?
So that nobody can read them. Uncle Vernon didn't go to work that day. He stayed at home and nailed up the letterbox. There's a picture of his butt. Big ol' Uncle Vernon butt. And he's nailing up the front door. See, he explained to Aunt Petunia through a mouthful of nails. If they can't deliver them, they'll just give up. I'm not sure that'll work, Vernon. What? Give me my hat. My hair's a mess. You're such a hat thief. Oh, these people's minds work in strange...
What's a hat thief?
Thief, someone who steals hats like you. Oh, these people's minds work in strange ways, Petunia. They're not like you and me, said Uncle Vernon, trying to knock in a nail with the piece of fruitcake Aunt Petunia had just brought him. Kisses. What is
The sweet.
You're so much bubbles. You're so lovely. Oh no, okay. On Friday, no fewer than 12 letters arrived for Harry. As they couldn't go through the letterbox, they had been pushed under the door, slotted through the sides, and even a few even forced through the small window.
Does post come every day at Harry's house?
Except Sundays. And even a few forced through the small window in the downstairs toilet. Uncle Vernon stayed at home again. After burning all the letters, he got out a hammer and nails and bolted up the cracks around the front and back doors so no one could get out. He hummed Tiptoe Through the Tulips as he worked and jumped at small noises. On Saturday, things began to get out of hand. 24 letters to Harry found their way into the house, rolled up and hidden inside each of the 24 eggs that their very confused milkman had handed Aunt Petunia through the living room window. While Uncle Vernon made furious telephone calls to the post office and the dairy, trying to find someone to complain to, Aunt Petunia shredded the letters in her food mixer. "Who on earth wants to talk to you this badly?" Dudley asked Harry in amazement. On Sunday morning, Uncle Vernon sat down at the breakfast table, looking tired and rather ill, but happy. "No post on Sundays," he reminded them happily as he spread marmalade on his newspapers. "No damn letters today." Something came whizzing down the kitchen chimney as he spoke and caught him sharply on the back of the head. Next moment, 30 or 40 letters came pelting out of the fireplace like bullets. The Dursleys ducked, but Harry leapt into the air trying to catch one. "Out! Out!" Uncle Vernon seized Harry around the waist and threw him into the hall. When Aunt Petunia and Dudley had run out with their arms over their faces, Uncle Vernon slammed the door shut. They could hear the letters still streaming into the room, bouncing off the walls and floor. "That does it," said Uncle Vernon, trying to speak calmly but pulling great tufts out of his moustache at the same time. "I want you all back here in 5 minutes, ready to leave. We're going away. Just pack some clothes. No arguments." He looked so dangerous with half his moustache missing that no one dared argue. 10 minutes later, they had wrenched their way through the boarded-up doors and were in the car, speeding towards the motorway. Dudley was sniffling in the back seat. His father had hit him round the head for holding them up while he tried to pack his television, video, and computer in his sports bag. They drove, and they drove. Even Aunt Petunia didn't dare ask where they were going. Every now and then, Uncle Vernon would take a sharp turning and drive in the opposite direction for a while. Shake 'em off, he would mutter whenever he did this. They didn't stop to eat or drink all day. By nightfall, Dudley was howling. He'd never had such a bad day in his life. He was hungry, he'd missed 5 television programs he'd wanted to see, and he'd never gone so long without blowing up an alien on his computer. Uncle Vernon stopped at last outside a gloomy-looking hotel on the outskirts of a big city. Dudley and Harry shared a room with twin beds and damp, musty sheets. Dudley snored, but Harry stayed awake, sitting on...
I wanted to go to the hotel at the movie. Why didn't you?
Hold on, let me finish this page.
At Wicked.
Dudley snored. Oh, yeah. Harry stayed awake, sitting on the windowsill, staring at the lights of passing cars and wondering. Well, we can't go see Wicked because I don't think it's playing anymore, but we could see what else is playing if you want.
Well, I mean, why didn't you want to go to the...
I did want to go. You were throwing a fit. You didn't want to go. We can watch Wicked on TV, too, if you want.
Why didn't I want to go?
I'm not sure, buddy. We can look at what's playing at the cinema and then go to the bookstore once we're done with this chapter, which we almost are. Okay. They ate stale corn...
I just want to go to the bookstore after we're done.
Okay, we can do that.
And then tomorrow we... do we still got to do chapter 3 tomorrow?
No, we don't. I mean, it's up to you, but we're finishing 3 today for sure. And then tomorrow we can worry about tomorrow. Okay.
We can do...
chapter 4 if you want, or we could do...
Chapter 4.
Yeah.
5, I guess?
Well, we gotta do 4 before we do 5. We're gonna read this in order. They ate stale cornflakes and cold tinned tomatoes on toast for breakfast next day. Sounds pretty tasty. Not the staleness of what?
Baby.
Baby. Oh, so babies.
Baby.
Stop. Okay. They had just finished when the owner of the hotel came to their table. "Excuse me, but is one of you Mr. H. Poulter? Only I got about 100 of these at the front desk." She held up a letter so they could read the green ink address. Mr. H. Poulter, room 17, Railview Hotel, Cokeworth. Harry made a grab for the letter, but Uncle Vernon knocked his hand out of the way. The woman stared. "I'll take them," said Uncle Vernon, standing up quickly and following her from the dining room. "Wouldn't it be better just to go home, dear?" Aunt Petunia suggested timidly, hours later, but Uncle Vernon didn't seem to hear her. Exactly what he was looking for, none of them knew. He drove them into the middle of a forest, got out, looked around, shook his head, got back in the car, and off they went again. The same thing happened in the middle of a plowed field, halfway across a suspension bridge, and at the top of a multi-story car park. "Daddy's gone mad, hasn't he?" Dudley asked Aunt Petunia dully late that afternoon. Uncle Vernon had parked at the coast, locked them all inside the car, and disappeared. It started to rain. Great drops beat on the roof of the car. Dudley sniveled. "It's Monday," he told his mother. "The great Humberto's on tonight. I want to stay somewhere with a television." Monday. This reminded Harry of something. If it was Monday, and you could usually count on Dudley to know the days of the week because of television, then tomorrow, Tuesday, was Harry's 11th birthday. Of course, his birthdays were never exactly fun. Last year, the Dursleys had given him a coat hanger and a pair of Uncle Vernon's old socks. Still, you weren't 11 every day. Uncle Vernon was back, and he was smiling. He was also carrying a long, thin package, and didn't answer Aunt Petunia when she asked what he bought. "Found the perfect place," he said. "Come on, everyone out." It was very cold outside the car. Uncle Vernon was pointing at what looked like a large rock way out to sea. Perched on top of the rock was the most miserable little shack you could imagine. One thing was certain. There was no television in there. "Storm forecast for tonight," said Uncle Vernon gleefully, clapping his hands together. "And this gentleman's kindly agreed to lend us his boat." A toothless old man came ambling up to them, pointing with a rather wicked grin at an old rowing boat bobbing in the iron-grey water below them. "I've already got us some rations," said Uncle Vernon, "so all aboard." It was freezing in the boat. Icy sea spray and rain crept down their necks, and a chilly wind whipped their faces. After what seemed like hours, they reached the rock, where Uncle Vernon, slipping and sliding, led the way to the broken-down house. The inside was horrible. It smelled strongly of seaweed, the wind whistled through the gaps in the wooden walls, and the fireplace was damp and empty. There were only 2 rooms. This picture is gorgeous. Yep, he's run. Huh? Am I squishing you?
No, you just hit me one.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Uncle Vernon's rations turned out to be a packet of crisps each and 4 bananas. He tried to start a fire, but the empty crisp packets just smoked and shriveled up. "Could do with some of those letters now, eh?" he said cheerfully. He was in a very good mood. Obviously, he thought nobody stood a chance of reaching them here in a storm to deliver post. Harry privately agreed, though the thought didn't cheer him up at all. As night fell, the promised storm blew up around them. Spray from the high waves splattered the walls of the hut, and a fierce wind rattled the filthy windows. Aunt Petunia found a few mouldy blankets in the second room and made up a bed for Dudley on the moth-eaten sofa. She and Uncle Vernon went off to the lumpy bed next door, and Harry was left to find the softest bit of floor he could and to curl up under the thinnest, most ragged blanket. The storm raged more and more ferociously as the night went on. Harry couldn't sleep. He shivered and turned over, trying to get comfortable, his stomach rumbling with hunger. Dudley's snores were drowned by the low rolls of thunder that started near midnight. The lighted dial of Dudley's watch, which was dangling over the edge of the sofa on his fat wrist, told Harry he'd be 11 in 10 minutes' time. He lay and watched his birthday tick nearer, wondering if the Dursleys would remember at all, wondering where the letter writer was now. 5 minutes to go. Harry heard something creak outside. He hoped the roof wasn't going to fall in, although he might be warmer if it did. 4 minutes to go. Maybe the house in Privet Drive would be so full of letters when they got back that he'd be able to steal one somehow. 3 minutes to go. Was that the sea slapping hard on the rock like that? And 2 minutes to go. What was that funny crunching noise? Was the rock crumbling into the sea? 1 minute to go and he'd be 11. 30 seconds, 20, 10, 9. Maybe he'd wake Dudley up just to annoy him. 3, 2, 1. Boom! The whole shack shivered and Harry sat bolt upright, staring at the door. Someone was outside, knocking to come in. That was the chapter. What did you think of it? What's your favorite part? My favorite part is when Dursley is driving them back and forth in different directions and stopping in random places. I just think that's really funny. They don't show that in the movie, but would have been funny. Yes, chapter 4 is called The Keeper of Keys. The Keeper of the Keys. And it has a portrait of Hagrid and a bunch of keys. They're cool looking keys too. Ooh, that one has wings on it. That one has a griffin claw on it. Ooh, that one looks like a troll.
And I'll read the thing.
You'll what?
I'll read the thing.
You want to review it?
There's Hagrid staring at Harry.
Yeah.
There's an owl.
With a letter. Actually, I think it's a newspaper.
Because in Harry Potter, will they bring the letters with the owls fly over to the Dursleys' house and...
Oh, they fly all over the country. And the world, in fact.
Looks like there's Mr. Dursley trying to get away. They're scared of Hagrid because Hagrid's all
Humongo.
Huge and scary.
He's actually a really nice guy.
That is some pictures. There is a picture of a
This is chapter 4, yeah.
In the movie they picture the tail
The pigtail.
flying.
Hagrid performs some secret magic.
I need it to flip.
You want to look at it again?
Yes.
You want me to flip it back to you? Okay. Ouch. Poked me in the shin.
You okay?
I'll be alright.
There's a pigtail. There's a big storm. And that ship is having trouble. Whatever it is,
That's the shack that they were staying in.
Oh.
On top of the rock in the middle of the ocean. So silly.
It's a storm. Could it stay?
They usually clear up eventually. Hagrid passed out on the sofa.
Hagrid passed out on the sofa.
Couch, sofa. I think they say sofa in Britain, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not British.
Will you speak a little bit?
It's coming along. It's not perfect.
I think this is ink from some sort of thing.
I like that one too. Harry's so excited.
This is seagulls. Oh no!
Mine.
Be dangerous. That.
Nah, Hagrid will protect Harry. I just wonder how the Dursleys got back because they stole the boat. There was only one boat. It's pretty funny. I don't think they have cell phones. I think this was pre-cell phone era.
Come on. Show them this picture, Dallas.
This is the leaky cauldron, which looks like nothing at all. I'm sorry. My bad. Pretty sure that's the leaky cauldron. Grandma's in the garden.
Where?
Oh, I saw her fussing about out there.
What about?
That's Diagon Alley, which is a very cool part of the movie. You can go there too in the Harry Potter Universal Studios, which we should go to once we've read all the books and seen all the movies. That's a goblin.
It's creepy looking.
For sure. They definitely are not pretty. That's Draco Malfoy, who becomes Harry's enemy. You'll find out all about him later.
Enemy?
Yeah.
An enemy is something that stings you if you don't get out of the way.
It could be. An enemy is like the opposite of a friend. It's like someone that you hate. Or that you don't like strongly.
Like my dad.
Oh, let's not talk about personal stuff on our video.
This is all tied up in a rope.
What is that actually? I don't even know what that is. We'll have to get to that page. Looks like a bucket with legs. I don't remember that part.
Anyway, there's ink all around on this page.
From an octopus?
Maybe.
It's...
Octopuses do, reflect ink.
They produce ink. I think they do anyway. Ooh, I can't wait for that chapter. It's going to be so fun. You'll get to meet some more characters that Harry will grow up with.
Like Neville.
Yeah, we'll meet Neville. I think you meet him in chapter 7, actually, but he might be in chapter 6. For sure, chapter 7.
Is this chapter 7 here?
It's a 6.
6.
3 chapters.
Ink. There's just all ink. What's that?
It's what?
Up there.
That's just a shadow from the tissue.
No, up there in the book.
Buddy, I don't know. I don't know, it's just... Oh, it's just like... They just cut... It's like watercoloring.
Ink.
Alright, I think we should call it for now. Our video is 48 minutes long. You good, or do you want to go through more pics?
Go through more pinks.
Okay.
This is like the waffle we spilled.
Ooh, that's a beautiful picture of the Hogwarts Express. Right here.
It's about to set off now.
How pretty is it?
And there's an owl's claws.
A bunch of owls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Harry's gonna get an owl in chapter 5. Yeah, chapter 5 he gets an owl. A white snowy owl. Oh, there's Dumbledore. I like that. I haven't seen that one yet.
Dumbledore.
It's a good picture. There's Ron Weasley, who becomes Harry's best friend. Harry.
Isn't he unfriendly?
Ron is very friendly. There's Hogwarts. It's very cool.
But it looks like a very stormy day.
Yeah, England is kind of a gray, muggy gross place from my understanding. I wouldn't want to live there for one. Never been. Julia's been to London.
Ink. There's ink over here.
Ink spotches. For sure.
I guess that's ink. The octopuses.
Ooh, that's a cool one. Man, this is a very cool book. Oh, those are all the ghosts.
That's
Hogwarts has ghosts. They're friendly for the most
that's
part.
cool pictures.
That's very cool. Sorry we're not showing you guys, but we'll show you when we get to that chapter. There's nearly headless Nick, the Gryffindor ghost. That's amazing. Oh, there's Harry wearing the sorting hat. Nearly headless Nick, one of the ghosts. Potions. What?
Skeleton, it looks like.
Oh yeah, it's got a skull for the cat. Nearly headless? How can you be nearly headless? Like this.
There is. All the pictures in this book are beautiful.
They are, I agree. Very talented illustrator.
Looks pretty good. Okay.
His name is Jim K.
Jim K.
Who
did the pictures?
Yeah, I assume well, there's Professor Snape, another one of Harry's enemies.
That's ink, ink, ink all around.
Ooh, there's Hagrid's hut. That's where Hagrid lives.
The sun is rising.
He lives on the grounds of Hogwarts Castle.
Ooh, big spooky day. Ooh,
I guess that's like a turret. Hogwarts.
lots of bees around.
Oh, that.
Ink, 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 ink.
It's a flying lesson, I think. They're on broomsticks.
And, yeah. It's actually echoing when we speak.
It is.
This room is echoing.
I guess it is a little bit, isn't it? I hadn't noticed.
Ink. Okay. Some of these pages do fit for ink. That's all the ghosts.
No, those are knights. Those are coats of armor. But yeah, they do come to life in book 7.
Do we have book 7?
Nope, not yet. We have a long way to go before we get there. We're barely at the beginning of book 1.
That's a flying sword.
I don't know who that is. Oh, that's Peeves, one of the ghosts. He's the mean ghost. There is one ghost that you don't... There's a couple of mean ghosts. He's one of them. There's 2, I think, that you don't want to mess with.
A pumpkin. Guess it's Halloween.
It's called Halloween, yep. Ooh, that's a cool one. That's Quidditch.
Pumpkins. Looks like, is that a treasure chest there?
I don't know. Oh, it's the crate of balls for the Quidditch, because Harry's gonna play Quidditch at some
It's the first page with ink.
Quidditch is the wizarding sport. They fly on broomsticks and they throw balls around. It's pretty cool.
It looks like outer space.
That's a troll. That's a scary chapter. It's not too scary,
Where does it live?
Well, I don't know where trolls live, but somehow it gets into the castle.
Hagrid. What?
Not from Hagrid.
Oh.
I think that's Hermione. Who becomes Harry's other best friend. Hermione Granger. The most clever witch of the age. That's Quidditch. Oh, this is the chapter where you'll see Harry's parents.
Die?
No, you don't see them die. You just see pictures of them. You'll see. It's a sad chapter.
Harry.
That was Ron. Ron is the redhead. Like me.
Ink. And those...
Well, that's Wizard's chest, I think.
Is that, yeah.
Oh. What is that there? I think that's more Wizard's chest, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember every detail of this book, but I do remember a lot of it.
What are these dolls?
I think they're chess pieces. It's a game that they play. We play chess in our world, but Wizard's chess is a little bit more exciting. The rules are not more exciting, but the execution is. Ooh, that one's all black. Harry and Dumbledore. Stack of books.
That looked as though they've never been touched.
Yeah, Dudley's not much of a reader, is he?
Okay, let me read it. That looked as though they've never been touched.
Yep, good job. You have a good memory.
There's a ticklish.
Yours.
Tickle.
Tickles.
A little bit of ink here and here.
Mm-hmm. No, there's the chapter that has a dragon in it.
Ooh.
Very cool. Book 1, book 4, and book 7 all have dragons in them.
Ooh.
There's a dog.
Is he nice? He doesn't look nice.
I think that's Fang, but Fang is nice. He's just really big.
Who is Fang?
Hagrid's dog. Hagrid has a dog named Fang.
Does he run away?
No.
Unless he's scared.
Yeah, Fang is kind of a coward.
Huh?
He's a scaredy cat, actually.
Scaredy dog.
That's right.
This thing is out.
It's the watch from that's Patty's old watch. Now you'll always know what time it is.
Let's see the thing now.
The video?
Yeah.
You want to be done? All right, let me close it out. Well, that was my read through of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Chapter 3, The Letters from No One, and a little picture review by Phoenix and commentation by Phoenix. Thank you for listening and watching, and tune in for our next video, which will be Chapter 4, The Keeper of the Keys. Till then, bye. Want to say bye?
Bye. And it'll be chapter 4 next week. So,
Right.
tomorrow actually.
Cheers.